In today's video, guys, I'm going to be showing you what I made in some Facebook Lives from a while back. So this was from the Hocus Pocus movie. We wanted to have a go at making the Sanderson sisters, and I did use molds for this one. A few of you will know that I do have my own range of molds out, and I'll put links in the description below this video to the molds so you know exactly which ones that I've used for this. So we're going to use the same face mold for all the three sisters. I'm just going to trim any extra off around the back. You do have to push them really quite firmly into the molds because they've only got tiny noses and they don't come out very well if you don't press them in really firmly. So I need to play around with sort of reshaping the faces a little bit so that they look a tiny bit more like the three sisters. So for Winifred, we have opened up the mouth and stuck in some teeth, and let's give her some pink cheeks. Just gonna press into the eye area with the wider end of my Dresden tool as well, just to open that up, and we can fill those eye sockets with white later. So for Mary, I've kind of squashed the face downwards a little bit, making it a little bit wider and also shorter. Again, we will push into those eyes. I'm going to create slightly different shaped eyes. And then on the face for Sarah, I've left it pretty much as it is, but I've just coloured the lips in with pen. On Winifred, I've decided I was going to paint them. So guys, these were all things that I made in Facebook Lives a while ago. So if you do want to see them in the full length videos, they are still available over on my Facebook page to watch, but for this I just wanted to kind of crop them all together, put them all into one video, make it a little bit shorter for you guys so you can see. And eyeshadow is just these powdered dust that I have. So these are edible powders that I do have. Again, I usually have them in the shop, so I do have an online shop and I sell these kind of things. At the moment they're out of stock. They've been out of stock for ages. Hopefully they'll be back in again soon, but I'll link everything below the video. So fill all the eyes with white. Have a look online at all the different sisters' faces so you can see like the different characteristics. So for example, Sarah, she's got much darker eyeshadow and thicker, blacker eyebrows. So we want to make sure that that is kind of apparent on the faces because they're not going to actually look like the three sisters. We just need certain characteristics on there that where you can kind of recognize them as them, even though they're cartoony and don't really look anything like the three characters in real life. So yeah, for Winifred, the teeth are going to be what makes her look like her. And then for Mary, the lip kind of going to one side a little bit is what makes her look like that character. You can thicken the eyelashes as well with some modelling paste if you want. So it's Serratino modelling paste that I've used in the faces and also for like the eyebrows and the eyelashes. And then I'm just going to use powdered colours to paint in the eyes. You can go with a lighter colour in the middle and then slightly darker on the outside edge. And they've each got a different colour. So we've gone for blues for Sarah and some browns for Mary. I think I'm getting all their names right. Hopefully I'm getting all the characters' names right. Let me know in the comments below if I am calling them by the wrong thing. Have you guys all seen Hocus Pocus? I did this when the second movie came out, and I hadn't watched the first one since I was a kid. So green eyes for Winifred. I've put black in the centres, and that's just with modelling paste. So the body, again, I'm just going to use a mould. You can freehand these guys, you don't have to use moulds, but because I've got a range of moulds out, it makes it quicker and easier. And also for those that aren't very good at modelling, it just makes it a little bit easier for them as well. I've put a wooden skewer through the body. This is going to help us attach it to the cake later as well. And then I push the head onto that. So if you're going to freehand a body as well, you can do it like this. So we're going to start with a piece and we're just pressing it to shape. And again, a skewer wants to just go down through the middle. So I've made this one a little bit bigger, and this one's for Winifred. So you can see I haven't bothered putting a line down between the chest. She's wearing clothes, so we don't need to do that. I pull Serratino modelling paste. So I am using modelling paste again. Now these are going to go on kind of the top of the doll cakes. So the bottom bit will be cake and all this doll part will be modelling paste. It does firm up, but it doesn't set that hard that you can't kind of cut into it or bite it if you want to. Most people don't want to eat the model parts though. It just tastes quite vanilla-y, to be honest, as this particular modelling paste. So we've got the green paste on as well, and we've rolled thin some purple to lace up sort of the front of our outfit. I am just going to paint over it in gold. I think it's gold in the film. So we're going to dress each of the Sanderson sisters. Again, I'm just looking at images online while doing this so I get a rough idea of what they're wearing. It doesn't matter if what you make doesn't look identical to what they're making. It's just, as long as it looks a little bit like it and it's the right colours, then hopefully we can tell who they're going to be. At this stage, they've got no arms as well. We'll add arms to them later when we add them to the cakes. And all the white stuff you can see is just corn flour. It was sticking to me a little bit, so I put corn flour down. And the gold paints I'm using, they're like water activated as well. So you just mix in some water and it becomes like a wet paint. These are food colours as well, so they are edible. And we're just going to paint a little pattern on here. So it's more just swirls and squiggles that I'm putting on there. Once you've done all three, if you want to do all three, you might only do one. We're just going to round off the backs of the heads, so I'm just going to push a bit of paste onto the back of there just to make it a little bit rounder. And then we can add hair. So let's start with Mary's hair. We're just going to add like a cap of paste to the back of her head, kind of pushing it onto kind of the sides and the top, and we'll put some hairlines in. And give her a couple of little curls just in front of her ears. Hair, I want kind of a mix of purple and black together, so I'm trying to mix it together without mixing it in too much. And we'll just cut a piece for her fringe. Now I do have hair molds as well, so you can use hair molds if you want for the fringe. And then we'll create like a swirl for the top of her head. We'll just add some individual pieces, and you can see I actually printed off an image of them that was them as dolls to use for guidance. Mine doesn't look the same, but it did just help me a little bit. So Winifred's hair is much bigger. There's quite a lot of weight, so I've actually put some polystyrene balls on there to try and hold the shape without it becoming too heavy, because if it's really heavy it will collapse the cake that it's going to stick into. So we're going to put some orange paste around there and kind of wrap it so it becomes a swirl at the top. Now you can spend much longer on yours. Like I say, I did this in a Facebook Live, so I'm always a little bit pushed for time when I am doing them live. And let's just put some hairlines in as well. And the hair really makes a big difference as well to these characters and what they look like. Stick her on some ears. I've just got a couple of little oval pieces of paste. We're just going to push those on there. Just pressing into the middle of the ear. And then Sarah's hair is fairly simple. It's just a piece of like pale yellow or a cream. So we just put some wavy lines in, cut a couple of triangles out of the bottom of that. And we're going to stick that to her head. And then you can just make some slightly slimmer pieces that will go around the sides of her head towards the front. I'm not going to bother giving her ears because the hair is going to cover that up, so it's not going to matter too much. Okay, so we've got our three bodies made. And then for the skirts, I've baked a cake in what I thought was Halloween-y colour at the time, which is green. Probably not the most appetizing colour, is it, for a cake? So this is in my doll cake tin. Again, I'll put links below the video. I can't remember if it's a doll cake tin or called a tiffin tin, but I'll link it below. I'm going to put some purple buttercream between the layers. And then we'll crumb coat it in a thin layer of buttercream all the way around. Which once you've got this nice and smooth, you can refrigerate for maybe like half an hour just to firm it up. And I'm going to stick it onto a nice cake board. I'm going to link the cake boards as well because I love these cake boards. I thought it was the perfect like pattern for something that was witchy or magical. I think this has to be my favourite one. Then I'm going to go over with another layer of purple. I'm going for a slightly deeper colour this time, and this is to match like her outfit. So it's Winifred that I am working on as a cake. My plan was to make all three of the witches into a cake. I actually only got round to making one, but hopefully from this you guys will be able to still follow the same kind of instructions and make the skirt parts for the other two dolls as well if you want. So we've got some green fondant and I've rolled it large enough that it will drape over the whole of that cake. I've cut it in the middle and then kind of pulled it open so it exposes a little bit of that purple at the front. Okay, so I've pushed the doll part into the cake and then we've put her on a bit of a cloak. So a bit of a collar first and a bit of a cloak. So I've rolled some sausage shapes and kind of flattened them more at one end so they become more like a triangle where the sleeves will be, and just pressing with the balling tool to hold them out a tiny bit where we can add some hands. Now I'm going to try and put some indentations into the front of the ganache as well, just a little bit, see if we can make it look like it's a bit more fabricy than what it looks at the moment. Made us some little hands, so some ovals flattened down, and then we're going to cut some fingers in. And I'm just going to paint a bit of patterning on her sleeves and just around the edge of the dress as well. So like I say guys, there's a bit more detail on the Facebook Lives which will still be over on my Facebook page, but I hope you enjoyed this one and let me know if you want to see any more doll cakes.